is extremely important. And I have a quote here from Imam Muhammad. There's a verse in the Quran where it says, وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْقَوَاعِدَ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ وَإِسْمَاعِيلُ رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. And remember, Abraham and Ismail raised the foundations of the house with this prayer. Our Lord, accept this service from us, for thou art the all-hearing, the all-knowing. So the word here, when it says in Abraham and Ismail raised the foundations, the word for that is qawa'id. Qawa'id. Who knows what qawa'id means? Grammar. So here it means foundations. But it also has been adopted as a term for grammar. Why is that? So Imam Muhammad explains. Let me enlarge this. He says the Kaaba has been there a long time. A long, long time. Much longer than Jews and Christians. And it is believed that Abraham and his son built the Kaaba. The Kaaba is a house for all people. I'm not saying this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this in Arabic. It is wudi'a linnas. And its foundation is called qawa'id. It means foundation. And it means grammar also. So where did they get the idea, or this idea that there was a word before the world was, and the word was with God? From the mystical symbol called the Kaaba or al-Bayt. If you know how to read into that symbol, it is saying, language is the beginning of human creation. You can be in human form, but if you don't have a language, you are no human being. You are just a piece of meat, and an animal life is in it, not man. I hope you're following what I'm saying. So the Kaaba its inception began with qawa'id, right? And the Kaaba represents human life, human creation, right? So qawa'id, the foundation of the Kaaba, if the foundation or the qawa'id is the beginning of the Kaaba, and the Kaaba represents human life, then what is the beginning of human life? Language, grammar. So before we even had the ability to resurrect our soul, resurrect ourselves after the conditions that we suffered for 400 years, before we could do that, we had to learn language again. We had to learn how to read. Right? So now, the Muslims of a certain time period, before the Renaissance, we know of the famous Renaissance of the West, right? Before the Renaissance period, the Muslims, when they saw Allah point to a phenomenon in the creation, they would go study it. And they would deduce knowledge. They would deduce facts. They would make observations for months, for years, and they would write them down. They would extract the sciences, not only from the Quran, but from the material creation. So a group of scientists went out with the question. They say, does language affect does language affect the perception of people? And does it shape your thoughts? So they found these Aboriginal people, right? So in English, when we talk about direction, we talk about it as in left, right, front, back, right? If Imam Hanif asks me, says, Abdullah, where are you going? Oh, I'm going left, right? But this direction is relative to where I'm at. So this is left, this is right. But if I turn this way, this is left, this is right. If I turn this way, this is left, this is right, right? But the Aboriginal people, when they think about spatial knowledge or direction, they think of themselves in relation to the earth. So they don't say left, right, front, back. They say, I'm going south, I'm going east, I'm going north, right? So that means on any given day, if I'm walking out of my house and Imam Hanif says, hey, where you going? I have to know where I'm at in relation to the earth. Because I have to give him an answer. I have to say, oh, I'm going northeast. So this affects the reasoning capacity. The language itself limits or shapes the reasoning capacity. Okay? So for example, some languages, they have grammatical gender. Okay? So in English, when I say Imam Hanif, or when I say, can you take the mic across the room? If I just say it like that, can you take the mic to the other side of the room? If you read that on paper, there's no indication of what gender I'm speaking to. Okay? But in Arabic or in other languages, if I use a verb, the verb has to indicate if I'm talking to a male or a female. Okay? When I say you, the pronouns, they have to indicate if I'm talking to a male or a female. So one time I had got, this is some years after the Mali conference, right? So I was learning a little conversational Arabic as well. So I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna try it out, right? So there's an older Muslim sister, a pioneer sister, who was from another country, and she spoke Arabic. She was here at the masjid. So I just started sparking a conversation. Assalamu alaikum. Where are you from? What is your name? My name is this. I'm studying Arabic, etc., etc., etc. So the conversation went on, and I'm like, man, I'm throwing down, right? I'm getting it in. And at the end of the conversation, I said, Assalamu alaikum, alhamdulillah, have a good day. Ma'a salama, right? And then I turned around, she said, brother, wait, I'm not a male, right? And I'm like, it took me a little while. I'm like, oh. So I had the conversation the entire time as if she was a man. Because in English, we don't keep track of that in our language, except for he, she, etc., right? But not only that, in English, we have the neuter gender. Okay? So we have male, we have female, and then we have it. Right? So in English, this is it. Right? In English, this is it. Right? The earth is it. The sun is it. The moon is it. Okay? There's a big limitation there. And misdirection of thought. In Arabic, there's only masculine and feminine. Everything has a gender. Okay? I'm not speaking of Allah. He's not a thing, right? So everything has a gender. That's creation. So the book is he. So in Arabic, I say, pass him to me. Okay? The earth is she. Right? I live in her. Okay? The sun is she. It's feminine. The moon is masculine. What does this do for the mind? This allows us to carry the feminine and masculine principles in our mind. So if you ask an English speaker, what is the feminine principle? What is the masculine principle? Unless they've been studying Imam or philosophy, right? They won't be able to tell you. But why would the book be masculine? Why? Because when you read it, it impregnates your mind with ideas. It impregnates your mind with thoughts. And those thoughts should produce something from them, right? Why is the earth feminine? Right? I don't even have to go in. I don't have to go further. Right? So language, it not only affects your perception, but it shapes your thoughts, and it either limits or liberates your capacity for reasoning. So now, we're learning, this is an introduction to Quranic Arabic concepts. Okay? So what is the best language, the best vehicle to receive communication from Allah? Right? What would be that language? So if you're reading from English, if you're reading from Russian, if you're reading the translation in Spanish, we thank Allah that we have these translations. We thank Allah that men and women put hard work into translating the Quran for those who haven't had a chance to study Quranic Arabic, right? We thank Allah for those efforts. But every single Quran translation of the Quran falls short. And the translator will tell you that this falls short from delivering the revelation of God to your mind, to your heart, and to your soul. Why is that? I want to read a quote from Imam Muhammad. He says, now this quote, I heard it through a chain, a Sahih. I got this from Imam Wazir. I got this. I heard this from a Sahih. It was a Sahih chain of narration. Right. So Imam Salim actually said this at a Mali conference. He said, Imam Muhammad said, right? I have to report the. I have to tell you who the reporter is, right? So this is a Sahih narration. Okay. So he said, Satan's influence has become so widespread, and it has penetrated everything except the purity of Quranic Arabic. Do you hear our leader? He said Satan's influence has become so widespread, and it has penetrated everything except the purity of Quranic Arabic. Allahu Akbar. Now, those who doubt will say, where did he get that from? Where did he get that from? The doubters would say that, and the naysayers. But this comes from the Quran. In the Quran, I don't have the first verse up there, but this adjective here, Quran and Arabiyan, this is referencing Allah saying that he revealed the Quran, and he's describing it. So, Qur'anan Arabiyan ghayra dhi iwajin la'allahum yattaqun. He says it is an Arabic Quran, and it contains nothing that's impure. Okay? It is an Arabic Quran from God, and it contains nothing that's crooked. So when we're thinking with Quranic Arabic, not only are we thinking with a pure language, right, but our capacity for reasoning is elevated. Our capacity for subterranean thought, in-depth, understanding things under the surface, right, is more, the language accommodates it more. And who needs that more than you and I? I was watching Roots. I've read about this before, but I was watching, they put this on TV. So it actually gives you an image now, right? So when you read like the Willie Lynch letter, right, it talks about how the man, they would take the man, tie him up, beat him, rip him down, tear him down, destroy him, so that his woman could feel, or would feel, that she has no protection from her man, right? And then they would place the man, or they would place the woman over the man. And the master could walk up and say, hey, Shirley, what are y'all doing today? And the man is standing, or hey, Shirley, what are we doing today? Right? And the man is standing right there. He could tell the man's daughter, hey, Becky, go on in the house and play with my daughter, right? And the man had no say-so, right? And the man, he wasn't a provider of his house, because everybody lived on the master's property, right? So in Roots, one man's wife was pregnant, and the man heard some noise and he ran. And he saw the men raping his pregnant wife. And he couldn't do anything. He couldn't do anything. Or if he did something, he feared that he would be killed. And his family would be killed, or other things would happen. Right? So this kind of retardation or systematic degradation had a serious psychological effect on our people and our men. So we can't be looking for definition anywhere else. Webster's dictionary isn't going to give us the definition, or Merriam Webster's dictionary. It's not going to give us the definition that we need to resurrect